Hey guys, so some of you might know, not all of you, but some of you might know that out of the 50 states, 26 of them are named after Native American tribes or words, which is actually pretty interesting. But you might be wondering, which of those, what are those 26 states? Well, that's what this map is showing. So as you can see, the states in red are not named after Native Americans, and the states in green are named after Native Americans. So some of them are pretty obvious, like Georgia, for example, is named after King George, and Washington is named after George Washington, which is actually pretty weird because they're both named George. But anyway, and other states are like a little borderline, like New Mexico, for example, is super interesting because in order to look into that, you actually have to look into the origin of the name Mexico, because New Mexico was named after Mexico. So, but yeah, fortunately, Mexico was a Native American word. So, in California, another interesting state, because there are multiple different theories of how it was named. So, like, one says that it was named after a black queen. Another says that it was named after, like, a group of Spanish words. But no matter how you look at it, it doesn't seem like California was named after a Native American. And as you can see, the entire East Coast is red, because, with the exception of Connecticut and Massachusetts. And that makes sense, because those were all of the English colonies. So those are the areas that are most likely to be given English names, because England colonized them. So that brings up the question: what would we name these states? So obviously, I'm not going to hit all of them, but because I'm not an expert on all of the Native American tribes or words or anything like that, but I can at least name a few. So let's start with Colorado, because it sticks out like a sore thumb. So if you don't know, Colorado is named after the Colorado River, which was named after what the Spanish called its soils and stuff. So anyway, so basically what I would name Colorado is Arapaho. And the reason for that is because the Arapaho is a huge Indian tribe in the area, and it's also a long enough state name that it's easy to remember and stuff. And yeah, I could also name it the Ute, but because that's the main mountain tribe, and in truth, both of those names work. But I'm naming it Arapaho because that's kind of what I thought of up at first, and so let's color that green so that I don't accidentally come back to it later. So next up we have Montana. Montana actually has two names I could give it. One, I could just give it the Shoshone, the name Shoshone, because the Shoshone is the biggest tribe in the area, and it's also one of the most well-known. So I could just give it that, or I could give it the name Sacagawea, because if you don't know, Sacagawea was the big Indian woman who helped the Lewis and Clark expedition find their way west, and she was a member of the Shoshone tribe. So in truth, both names could work. And I actually tried to find the Shoshone name for mountain, which would actually make sense because Montana is named after the Spanish name for mountain, montaña. But and so that way, the actual meaning of the name wouldn't change. But unfortunately, I couldn't find it. But really, either Shoshone or Sacagawea could work. So again, color that green. What about Washington? Well, Washington, I would give it the name Chinook, because Chinook is the biggest Indian tribe in the Pacific Northwest, like Washington and Oregon, and also a little bit of British Columbia as well. So, and the Chinook is yeah. So, I'm going to name Washington Chinook, mainly because of that. California. Alright, so California, I think I would name it Yosemite. Because Yosemite, yeah, it's also a national park. But you could say, okay, Yosemite National Park is in the state of Yosemite, which is confusing, but it also might make sense if you think about it. So, and also, Yosemite is a Native American word, because it's some Native American tribe name for a grizzly bear. So I actually wasn't expecting that. I was actually kind of expecting Yosemite to be some English or Spanish name. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway. And the last two states I'm going to hit are North and South Carolina. And these states are actually super cool because what if we named them North and South Cherokee? So Cherokee is the name of like a big Indian tribe in the southeast, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So, what if the reason why I think it's so interesting is because if we had it North Cherokee and South Cherokee, they would be able to retain their abbreviations NC and SC, which is not something that is shared by the other states I've renamed so far. So, and it would also be pretty cool, pretty nice, because we'd be able to, yeah. So that's that's it for this video. As always, I'd appreciate like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.